Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of Grassroots Racing Show.
Welcome to the Grassroots Racing Show. I'm Doug Thompson with co-host Roger Thompson. Well, Roger, we got the film crew. Mike Kraft and the crew is out at Mayetta at Thunderhill Speedway, and we're going to check out some of the really good film footage, and that's an IMCA track. And so that ties in with one of the fan questions we got, and this is a fan question. Says, I'm a new race fan. I watched some of the IMCA races on your show. I get confused about the different race classes. What's the difference? Some of the cars look the same to me. Please explain. Well, I got the same problem. Some of the cars look the same to me. When I preview with Glenda some of the film footage that Mike Kraft sent in, and some of the cars are very similar in the appearance. If you take the B mods of the modified and the A mods, they're pretty similar. And back when you ran the Whiskey Lake Raceway, we ran those cars together, and it was good racing in certain track conditions. There wasn't much difference between them.
Well, there really wasn't. I think the problem, it's not really a problem. IMCA is, without a doubt, the oldest sanctioning organization, as you know, in the country. And IMCA started certain classes, like the mod, just take example, the mods or the IMCA sprints, and then the track promoters and owners started adopting the IMCA rules but modifying some of them to make their own class. So what you have is there's a lot of cars that look alike, but sometimes each individual track has different rules, and it can be something as simple as the tires. And it really makes it tough for these racers because, you know, if you go to one track, you have to have a certain set of tires. And you guys are familiar with that. You go to another track, you have to have different tires. Some situations, the difference in these cars, they may all look alike, but they may have different carburation, they may have different headers, they may have different suspension parts. And while they all look the same and they can all be called modifieds or they can all be called sprint cars, the difference is a lot of times in the mechanics and the suspension, and in sprint cars, the wing size and the tires you have to use, those kinds of things. It's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, it is. You know, and you're right. The IMCA class started in 1915, but in about 1979, it really took off again. I think it was Keith Kanak kind of reorganized it a bit, and it took off, became very popular. And over the years in our racing, we've seen this happen a lot, to where one racetrack runs a set of rules and another one runs a different, and a third and a fourth, and pretty soon, while they're so scattered, it's difficult to be able to run all of the tracks without getting into lots of changes to your race car and lots of expensive things. And then when IMCA really took off in '79 and got up to the present time, they put a lot of order to that chaos, and they solidified the rules by codifying them to the point to where there were some uniform rules for the IMCA for the late models, the sprint cars, as you've mentioned, and then the modifieds, and thus the numbers grew, and you could go from one track to another and not encounter any difficulty because they were IMCA sanctioned tracks. But now, at least in our area, in this part of Kansas, I'm seeing that event occurring again, where the tracks are, one track says you got to have a certain manifold, certain head combination for like your B mods, and the A mods are still pretty much wide open, but
or even a crate engine in some cases.
Yeah, that's right, sometimes a crate engine. And
well, maybe we ought to explain what a crate engine is.
Go ahead.
Well, a crate engine is an engine that comes in a crate.
Well, there you go.
And it has to be put together by the manufacturer, and it's sealed, and you can't tear it apart. It's already been checked, and it has all the specifications that you need. And if something has to be done to the engine, you send it back to the manufacturer. But when you go to a track, that engine is sealed just like it came from the manufacturer, to protect anyone from cheating or trying to modify that engine. And a lot of times these crate engines are in the $5,000 range, I think. Yeah. But some tracks require them. And once again, the racer is the guy that's hung out there spending a lot of money. And wow, if you hit a track that requires a crate engine, and then next year that track's closed, you know, who wants a crate engine?
Yeah.
You know, problems like that arise all the time.
Yeah, unfortunately they do. And the idea behind the crate engine, of course, is that all the power plants for those in that particular class will be even. And the theory behind it is that person who can adjust his chassis or drive better, or who gets a little lucky sometimes, will have the better performing car. And it's a good idea in theory, but exactly like you said, somebody goes in and spends an entire budget. You pay $5,000 for a crate engine, and the track's committed to it, and then the next year here's a different promoter where the track's changed their mind, and you're sitting there with a crate engine. The others are running something that's generating more horsepower or less, and yours is outlawed because of it. It's certainly a problem.
Yeah.
But when we go to the footage this afternoon or this evening, depending on when you're watching that and where, and by the way, you can pick this up on the Grassroots Racing website, grassrootsracing.org. You can, of course, see it on Eagle TV, and we're also out of on television out of Oklahoma TV network, and you can catch it in any of those. But when we go to Thunderhill, we're going to watch some of the racing from the Sports Compact, which is the 4-cylinder class of cars, and then there's entry-level class from the hobby stocks and the stock cars. You'll see the difference between those cars. There's a Northern mod, and the Northern mod resembles the B mods, but they're different. It's an IMCA specialized class. They have a Southern mod and a Northern mod, but we'll be watching the Northern mod and then the modified class.
Keep in mind that this Northern mod is it's an entry-level modified class.
Yeah, it is. And I think they have a stock frame, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, under the IMCA rules. Time for us to take a break, pay a few bills. We're going to be back. You're watching the Grassroots Racing Show. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Pat Neal. Thanks for tuning in to watch this edition of Grassroots Racing.
Welcome back to the Grassroots Racing Show. I'm Doug Thompson with my brother co-host Roger Thompson. Roger, we've got Mike Kraft and the film crew up at Mayetta, and a little bit later in this program we're going to be doing some of the interviews that Mike did. Mike is really solid in the area of getting his interviews with the top people at the track. He seems to have a knack of picking out the people that turn out to be the winners that night, and some of them surprising to them, but he really prides himself that he gets pretty lucky.
Well, it's pretty easy when he picks all the previous national champions and state champions, and you know, I could do that. Well maybe not, but yeah, Mike is very good at it. But I do notice that he picks some guys that, for example, look who's coming up to Mayetta right after we get done interviewing these people.
What does that mean?
Did that make sense to anybody?
I didn't.
The point I was trying to make is that the races coming up at Mayetta, you folks are going to be seeing them after we do this program, and some of the people competing in those races are national champions from years past.
Yeah, you're right. And some of the people that Mike Kraft's going to be interviewing at Mayetta later in the program, he'll interview the 2011 stock car points champion Kyle Van Over. And Van Over is actually one word. And then he'll be talking to the 2011 second place finisher, which was Jim Powell Jr. Jim's always a good interview.
And these guys in the stock cars really get after it. The stock car is not an entry-level car, by the way, for IMCA.
No.
It's an advanced class, and these guys really know how to put them around the track. And the nice thing about this Mayetta track is it's big, it's high-banked, and there's plenty of room to race on. So this is going to be some exciting racing.
It is excellent racing, and I've seen the stock cars, the hobby stocks, seen them at the Boone Nationals, and hundreds of cars in each of the classes show up, and it is fantastic racing. And I'll tell you, those guys take a lot of pride in those cars, the hobby stocks, stock cars. It's good racing.
Well,
it looks like the old late models that we used to run years ago.
They look like real stock cars, and we had that kid from Nebraska that was a national winner. I saw him a few years ago out of Stockton. Did an outstanding car with that stock car. Thompson, his name.
Oh, John Thompson.
Yeah, John Thompson.
Yeah, John Thompson. His dad Eldon has built some engines for us, and John's a nice guy. I've seen him several times, and I told him John's about like 6'5" and 240. I said, "Yeah, John, we're out of the same family, you know." He just laughed. John's a good hard driver, was national champion in the IMCA, and a good guy. His dad, Eldon, had a machine shop up in, I don't know, I want to say Superior, but maybe it was just north of Belleville in the Nebraska side.
It's real. The guy's a real patient driver. I mean, he's smooth and doesn't crash, and just he started at the back at Stockton and went right to the front, and just as clean and smooth as you could ever ask for. Not a mark on that car either.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Who else do you have?
I think I mentioned that we'll have the 2011 B-Mod points champion, Kyle Oberdeen. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but
No,
Kyle will be interviewed. Mike Kraft caught him. He also caught the 2011 National Northern Sports Mod champ, Brian LaRiviere.
No.
Well, how is it?
La Riviere.
LaRiviere, there you go. Okay.
Like the Buick.
All right. Okay. And then Mike also has an interview with the 2011 second place A-Mod champ at Thunderhill, which was Brian Brigsby. And the A-Mod top competitors being interviewed later on the show, Jeff Herbers and Nick Benninger. And both of those are good interviews. The A-Mod competition at Mayetta is very, very competitive.
There's going to be a lot of cars there coming up for this race too.
You know, one of the things that we've been doing, we sent Jeremy Petty up with the Grassroots Racing Show, the new Belleville Motorsports car, the 2012 A-Mod. And Jeremy's dialing that in, trying to get that car so it'll be competitive. And I know he will do so. It is a DMR, which means the David Murray Racing Design. And that's a car that hopefully Jeremy will be able to take up to Mayetta pretty quick, get dialed in up there, because we want him to go out and run at RPM Speedway at Hayes on Tuesday night, August the 7th, because Clint Boyer and Kenny Schrader will be out there in the modifieds, and so hopefully Jeremy will have the chance to take the car out there and run with them. Well, and that engine is an Eldon Thompson. Speaking of Thompson, that's an Eldon Thompson engine that's in that car.
Well, if that's all that's going to be out there, it won't be a problem for Jeremy. I mean, they might as well just send him the check.
Just as well go ahead and give him the check, and he'll have that
but
going.
A bunch of rookies out there, sounds like to me.
At Mayetta, of course, you're going to see on the film footage that's coming up, you'll see also the sports mod, or sports compact, I should say. That's the 4-cylinder car, and I'm delighted to see the 4 cylinders, because that makes really a good entry-level class too. And you know, of course, the history of the mini stock, that we started the mini stock class, and that really got a lot of young kids back into racing that couldn't afford to otherwise, with the Pintos and Vegas and Opals and those types of things. And that's a good class of cars, good fun class.
I think these cars are front-wheel drive, aren't they?
I think they are. I think the IMCA Sports Compact is a front-wheel drive, but it's affordable.
Yeah, they get them from salvage yards mostly, been dented up or been totaled out, but still mechanically fine. Mm-hmm. Good class to get started in.
And the other classes, of course, they'll have the hobby stock class. You'll be watching that. Looks similar to the stock car, but it doesn't have the power that stock car class has. But they're IMCA sanctioned track, and the cars are, of course, inspected, because they are IMCA cars. So the inspectors have been through them, and the cars are competitive within the class, and that's what always makes good racing. So as you get ready to watch the racing tonight, you will find that you'll be able to tell the difference between the classes. So the fan that sent the question in, listen for the audio portion of it, and Mike will describe which class is coming out on the track. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a good night of racing. And by the way, we'll tell you after break. When we come back from break, we'll have some other information. But time for us to cut away, pay a few bills, take a break, and we'll be back right after this intermission. Thanks for watching.
For the second place finish here in stock cars last year, Jim Powell Jr. Jim, man, some tough competition up here with these guys.
There's some real stiff competition coming from up north, but we're getting close to them.
I was going to say, come back again this year. Anything special this year? Change anything on the car, motor?
Not a thing. We changed the body and the paint. That was it. The motor's still got the same dirt on it from last year.
Well, answer me this. Who's building the motors for you?
I built it myself.
Out in the garage all by your lonesome, put her together?
Dad helped a little. The feller holding your camera.
Our cameraman helped a little bit. Where are you from, Jim?
Lecompton, Kansas.
Lecompton. I passed that coming up on I-70.
Yeah, it's halfway between Lawrence and Topeka.
Yeah. You been doing this long?
About 26 years I've been chasing these things around.
Well, you're probably starting to figure it out a little bit. Boy, you must be, like I say, if you can run second in the points to some of the guys up that they've had up here. I mean, with Nichols dropping in, and then, like you say, is it
Vanover, yep.
Vanover coming in here and winning the points last year. Man, that's some tough guys to deal with.
There's some real stiff competition, and they've been doing it. We've only been running this rules package for the 2 years now. They've been running it for a lot longer than we have.
I was going to say, it's been a big change for the guys from here around the Topeka area when they decided to go IMCA. Pretty hard for you to catch up with that?
No, they just had a big head start. It took some time to learn a few things, but we're getting it figured out.
Okay, go out there and have some fun tonight. That's all I can tell you.
We're here to have fun every night. That's what we come for. It sure ain't for the money.
Jim Powell Jr., watch for this guy tonight in that A-main. Thank you, Jim.
With last year's points champions in the B-Mods, Kyle Overling. Kyle, man, them points deals are hard to pull down, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. You always got to be there every week, and you always got to bring your best stuff and be on your game. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself behind them points pretty quick. But we had a good year. We had a very good year. We got a lot of good people behind us, and we're expecting to have another good year this year. But, man, it's going to be tough out here, and we realize that. And we're excited to have the national champion here, Brian Lerviere. I think he's going to be fun to run with, and hopefully we can give him something. Hopefully we have something for him. But we're going to see where we stack up. But I mean, Dad helps a lot. He does a lot for me. We work on the car about every night of the week, and we make sure it's the best when we load it up. So we expect good runs. But we got good sponsors. Tony's Machine builds us good motors every year that run really nice, and we like them. Never had any problems with it. They do good work. So we got a lot of good people behind us, and that really helps a lot. I mean, that goes a long ways. You can never have bad help, you know. And we got, my mom's always behind us. My sister tapes all the races for us so we can sit at home Sundays and watch and see what I should have done and what I shouldn't have done. So it's just a whole family effort, and we have a lot of fun.
The other thing you were talking about, too, is I don't know how many racers I talk to, and they say a lot of the races are won in the shop. Like you say, when you roll that car off the trailer and you know it's there, that's a good deal.
Yeah, you always got to be well prepared, and we feel that we are. So we come out here with the best equipment we think we can find, and we do what we can with it.
Let's talk a little bit about the chassis. What kind of car are you running?
It's a DMR chassis by Belleville Motorsports, and it's our second year in this car. And I really love it. I like it a lot. It's really starting to work with me a lot more this year than last year. We've done a lot of changes over the winter, so we're hoping they're going to pay off.
You're probably like a lot of other guys here up at Thunderhill Raceway. Went to IMCA. Was it a big change for you?
No, because we were already racing IMCA up at Beatrice, and we were here weekly anyway, and they had pretty much the same rules. So we didn't have to change much, so we were really excited when they went IMCA. We were pumped up about that. So
that kind of give you a little head start on everybody, so that's a good deal. I didn't realize you were already running IMCA, but I know you're looking forward to a good year here at Thunderhill, and man, all I can say is go out there and have some fun.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm here with Brian Lerviere, the national champion for B-Mods last year in IMCA, Northern Sport Mod. Brian, man, you just got to be prouder than heck of that. I mean, when you think of all the guys in the United States that run that, and you were the national champion, that, like I say, you got to feel good, man.
Oh, we had a phenomenal year last year, and like you said, there's all kinds of guys out there, and just to be able to compete means a lot to me. But to have the season that we had, I can't imagine having another season like that. So, yeah, it's pretty. Sometimes you just don't think about what it means to you until someone starts talking to you about it or congratulates you about it. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool deal.
I know there's a lot of skill involved, but, man, there's also a lot of luck, because I've talked to a lot of guys that just win track championships, and they'll say, I didn't cut a tire all year. Yeah. So you know there's a lot of luck involved.
I'll tell you what, I've had more bad luck already this season than what I did all of last year. And I'll tell you, I'll take luck over skill 95% of the time. So, yes, there is a lot of luck, and there is a lot of skill, a lot of prep work. You got to have good equipment. There's so many things that got to go into a race car in your program, but luck is a lot of it, let me tell you what.
I know one of your big sponsors from last year, I think, is Extreme Motorsports, and of course they're involved with the thing up here at Thunderhill this year. So that's got to be a pretty neat deal too. And you're going to be running for the points championship here.
We're going to race here this year. We are just going to go race. We're not chasing no championships, no national championship. We're just here to have a good time and win as many races as we can and enjoy it as we go along.
What are you looking for out of the track tonight? I'm sure you've raced here before, but boy, opening night, I mean, a track can be anything on opening night. I mean, sometimes they just haven't been worked in real good, can be loose, come apart. What do you think we're going to have tonight?
You know, they ran a show here a couple weeks ago, and the track was pretty smooth. I know it was a day show, but it was smooth. It's probably going to be a little rough. I don't think it's going to be a big issue, but it's going to be fast. I can guarantee you that.
That's for sure. I love coming up here and watching the races. Like I say, they're really competitive and usually a lot of speed involved. Tell me a little bit about the chassis and who's making the power.
RPM Randy Performance Machine out of Wichita, Kansas builds my motors. We do run the claim motor. First class chassis out of Great Bend, along with Extreme Motorsports. VP Racing Fuel. Really, that's all we got really on this deal. Got EQ heads, where EQ helps us out quite a bit. We picked up a kind of a Billy Fisher cam design. We're trying that out. So not a whole lot. Big things, like I said. Extreme Motorsports, first class chassis. You know, first class chassis out there. We're trying to sell some cars. Good car. Consistent. So
if I remember right from last year, you had one of two of those first class, if I remember right. Is that true, or am I wrong with that?
Yes, that is correct. Yep. So we've got a couple more out there this year. Hopefully they have the same success that we did last year. So
I was going to say, man, you got a guy who wins the national championship. You want to have the same chassis he's got, right? I mean, that's kind of the deal. Some guy goes fast. You want to go fast too.
I would think so, but I don't think we would have we didn't sell as many as we'd like to. But you know what? That's how it goes. I've seen a lot of businesses. You know, it's a year in, the year after. You know, you got to be consistent, and that's what people look for. Exactly. Consistently fast. And I think we have that. We just need to get more of them out there, and we will.
Yeah. Okay, here's a guy you want to watch for tonight, Brian LaRiviere. Boy, I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, you did good, buddy. You did good. So every night we're on the spot. So we're just here to compete and have a good time. That's what we're all here for. So
thanks a lot, Brian.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
We'll have to take a commercial break, but we'll be right back with more from Thunderhill.
Brian Rigsby, and Brian was second place finisher last year in the A-Mod class here at Thunderhill behind Gordon Grabowski. I guess there's real no shame in losing to Gordon. I mean, the guy that goes on to be the national champ.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. Pretty much when you finish second, it's pretty much winning compared racing against him. So I'm pretty happy with that.
I was going to say, last year, your first year in IMCA, was it a big transition to make from running, as you said earlier, the regular, I guess we call outlaw A-Mods?
Yeah, it's pretty big difference between Open and IMCA, and just a lot of changes you got to do to be competitive with these guys. There's guys that come up here, they've been racing for years in IMCA, and we're just trying to get used to it, but we'll get there.
Answer me this, you're talking about getting a new car. What's the chassis going to be, and who's making the power for that thing?
Oh, it's going to be a brand new jet car, and John and Kelly, they build the engines. That's car owners.
That here in Topeka?
Yeah.
Looking forward to a great year, I'm sure.
I'm hoping. We got one win last year. I'm hoping to get a few more this year. So,
are there any secrets to running this track? I mean, like you say, you've run it for quite a while, even before IMCA came in here. Are there any secrets to win on this track?
It's a lot different than running Heartland Park or whatever. That's a pretty much stop and go track. This one's pretty much to the floor and comparable to Lakeside.
Well, okay, Brian, have some fun tonight, and appreciate you talking with us here, and good luck this year.
All right, thank you.
Top competitors here at Thunderhill are going to be in the A-Mod class this year. Jeff Herbers. Jeff, I notice here on the car we got Jeff Hot Rod Herbers, man. Does that mean you got a heavy foot, or what's going on?
It's just a nickname we've picked up over the years. Kind of stuck.
Yeah. Boy, some tough competition up here at Thunderhill. Of course, I guess anytime you've got the national champion that comes out of the track you race at, it's got to be tough.
Yeah, looks like Jordan's coming back, and we got a few new guys too, so hopefully it's a little more competition this year. There's nothing wrong with that. It makes everybody better.
I was going to say, usually you're only as good as the guys you run with, so like I say, when you got the national champ and then some of these new guys coming in, it's going to be a tough year. Anything you're looking for this year, any new equipment or anything we ought to know about?
No, we just kind of struggled last year, so hopefully we got better at the end of the year. Hopefully we start out where we finished, and everything's kind of the same, so hopefully we had a little better year than last year.
Okay, tell us what kind of chassis and who's making the power.
Larry Shaw and Wendell Allen. Allen's Automotive builds my Chevy motors.
Well, all I can say is opening night, I know you've been at this for a while, so I'm sure you don't have any jitters or anything, but what are you anticipating tonight? Going to be a heavy track? Going to be breaking up because of the first race of the year or anything like that?
I don't know. Right now there's moisture out in some spots, but there's some dry areas too, so it's hard to say. It just depends on where everybody decides they're going to run, and if they run through the dry and throw the crumbs up, that kind of changes things too. So, well, who knows? Hopefully it doesn't get dusty. That's all I care.
I heard a comment in the drivers' meeting down there earlier, I think Super Dave was making, about one thing you can count on is Thunderhill. We will enforce the rules, and that's got to be a good deal for a racer.
Yeah, it is. This place got by a lot of years not really having any rules. It was pretty run what you brung open. I mean, if it go on the track, there's a lot of nights that's all you really needed. But it's nice. I mean, he works over the cars pretty good. So I mean, you're racing against equal cars. It makes it more the setup and the drivers rather than thinking somebody's out there cheating. But that makes it a lot more enjoyable too.
We'll say that's IMCA racing. I don't know what else to say about it. I enjoy watching it. Some people think maybe it's down a level, but boy, I sure don't. I've seen some terrific races up here, whether it be the track or the competitors. But a good place to come and watch races.
Yeah, they're definitely not a lakeside compatible car unless it's slick or something like that. But at least you're on an even playing field. I mean, Lakeside's got their rules, Heartland's got their rules, but at least your cars fit wherever you're going, and it seems to be, level other than a setup and a driver.
Okay, once again, one of the guys to watch for this year, he says we're going to get it together. Jeff Hot Rod Herbers. Jeff, thanks for talking to us, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. With another one of the competitors here in the A class here at Thunderhill Speedway, Nick Benninger. Nick, kind of a rough year last year.
Yeah, it was a long year. We got through it. We didn't have too bad of runs. We run second 5 times to the national champion, so I don't necessarily think we can call it a bad year. We didn't get as many wins as we wanted to have, but we're here to get some this year.
That's just what we were talking with Jeff. You can't feel too bad when the national champion comes out of the track that you run at. And like Jeff said, a lot of times you run up to the competition, and, that's got to make you better overall.
Oh, absolutely. You race against somebody like that, and I see Gimmel's here now. I mean, you race against guys like that, you got to get better, or you're going to run in the back all the time. So, yeah, we hopefully we stepped up our program a little bit over the winter, and we can run up front this year.
I was going to say, is there anything you can tell us about, anything new, chassis, motor, anything?
It's pretty much the same car we drove last year. We cut it up a little bit and we moved some mounts. We did some things that we've been wanting to do to it for a while, and we did quite a bit of work to it, changed a bunch, so hopefully it'll respond to that.
I know got your dad back there in the background, I'm sure giving you a lot of advice, turning some wrenches. Quite a racer himself, man. It's got to be a good feeling to have somebody like that back behind you.
Absolutely.
I'm here with the points champion for the stock cars last year here at Thunderhill Speedway, Kyle Vanover. Boy, I have a terrible time with pronunciation. But anyway, Kyle, congratulations on the run here. Man, some good competition up here. Old Nichols drops in every once in a while. Just, I guess, kind of keep everybody honest, huh?
Yeah, it keeps everybody honest and makes you dig for that much more. And it's just great to accomplish it and come back for next year, or come back for this year, should I say.
Yeah. I presume you like running on this track. Boy, a lot of speed out there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy fast. It keeps you true.
Anything special this year? A new chassis, a new motor, anything you can tell us about that? I know every year everybody wants to step up their game just a little bit, so anything this year for you guys?
No, we saved the money of rebodying the car and just put new stickers on it, and spent more money just trying to make the car go faster. Now this year we got more people on board, like Eric at EQ and Billy Fisher, and everybody trying to help out and make this a little more successful, and Rex Merritt with Bilstein.
Once again, tough year coming up, I'm sure. I mean, here we are, opening night, and it's really tough to think about what's going to take place during the year. But boy, it really gets to be a grind when you get into the summertime, and those points deals can really kind of dig at you a little.
They sure can. They can make it very stressful. But I mean, tonight, hopefully, we have this all year long. You know, we got Lance here, Phelps, Nichols, Rimple, Van Lanham, and Powell, and everybody, you know, that raced here last year. But there's going to be a lot of competition tonight. This is a pretty big feature shaping up here.
I was going to say, I think they had some weather up north. I don't know if that had anything to do with some of the guys coming in, but it looks like it's going to stack up to be quite an A feature. But man, you got to get there first. So go out there and have some fun, Kyle, and I hope the year goes good.
Welcome back to the Grassroots Racing Show. I'm Doug Thompson with co-host Roger Thompson. The program tonight, of course, is we're at the Auto Racing Museum in Chapman, but you just finished watching interviews by Mike Kraft with a number of top-notch racers from Mayetta. And stay tuned as this program moves forward, because the night at the track tonight is going to be those same people that were just interviewed will be in competition from Thunderhill Speedway, and that's going to be some fantastic racing, Roger.
The last segment, I couldn't put a sentence together, and when I tried to, it didn't make any sense. This Mike Kraft has got to be pre-recorded. The guy never makes a mistake. He does these interviews and gets information from these guys. Everything just flows along. It makes sense and it's interesting. I think I'm going to have to take some lessons from Kraft. He's just that good.
He just loves what he's doing. He's having a blast that he's able to go out to the tracks and represent the Grassroots Racing Show, and he's sending a lot of excellent film footage. You know, recently here in the racing, just in the past couple of days, racing lost really a fantastic individual. Jack Welsh out of Junction City owns Easy Jack, and Jack was an announcer at the Salina Speedway for years. He was announcer at Plaza Speedway and Whiskey Lake Raceway, and just been involved in racing forever. And racing industry's going to miss Jack.
The entire Welch family's been involved in racing, all of our racing careers for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
He will be missed.
Yeah, he will. Stay tuned for Night at the Track. You're watching the Grassroots Racing Show.